In this video, we're going to be taking a look at visual BDD, specifically coverage-driven Gherkin with just-in-time rigorous test data overlaid. We're going to be doing that using Test Modeler and also Micro Focus Octane. Now, the process we're going to be showing in this video is starting with a product owner. They can come in to Test Modeler and start creating models of the system requirements that they want to be built. Now, you may have some existing Gherkin that exists in your organization, and you can import these in along with any example data that you have. Once a model exists, you can overlay test data criteria, and that's going to go away to all sorts of different external data sources and allow you to make and find the test data you need for your different scenarios. We can also export our Gherkin scenarios with our data overlaid into Micro Focus Octane. From here, we can have our dynamic data tags embedded, and what can then happen is Octane interfaces with developers, IDEs, and associated environments, and can create the automation with the associated glue code inside this framework. Once that has been created, the automation scripts can be executed, along with any test data resolved just in time as the automation is running. Through Test Modeler, we can also scan various web applications to assist with creating these page objects as well. But the goal is that you should end up with some automation scripts which can be executed with the test data, and eventually after these are run, the run results can also be imported back up to Test Modeler and synchronized into Micro Focus Octane. So this is the process that we're going to be showing in this video. So firstly, let's start off by creating some visual Gherkin. So here we're inside Test Modeler. And what we can do is we can start to create visual models of a requirement that we want to be built. So here what we're going to do is we're going to be testing a CRM system, and that CRM system is being used for creating different opportunities. So basically we're going to drag and drop a start block here, and then we can start building out our model of how that system should work. So the first thing that should happen is when I am on the logging page, and I perform a successful login. So we'll connect these up. Now these are given blocks, so I can right click here and go to given. And what this allows me to do is to start building my visual model of how I want my Gherkin to be constructed. And I can go through here, I can keep dragging and dropping blocks, I can add some decisions in, and what should happen eventually is I should end up with a model which represents the application which I'm going to be built. So here we've got a model that we've built for creating opportunities, and what you'll see is that we're saying here, given I log into the application and I go to the opportunities page, then when I enter all this valid data, then I should end up with a new opportunity created, or I end up with some kind of error message displayed if I drop off with some bad data. So we've built a model here which visually represents our BDD scenarios of when I end up with a new opportunity created and when I end up in some kind of error. Now what you may find in your organization is you have existing Gherkin scripts that you've already spent some time creating, and you can reuse them within Test Modeler to accelerate the model building process. So here we've got two scenarios, one of them a scenario outline and one of them a classic scenario. We can take this in, copy it, come to the connectors panel, go to Gherkin, and we can import this in. And what you'll see is that we've got a model here with our parameterized data. And if we take a look, what you'll see is that it also brought in these two paths here, 1, 2, along with all of the data examples that existed in that Gherkin. So now we have a model which has been auto-built for us from an existing asset with our data, and we've got our paths here. And we can now come in and reuse this model, or we could come off and expand it with more deviations to expand our coverage. We're now going to overlay some test data. Now here we have the system that we're going to be testing, this create opportunities page in our CRM system. And in order to test this system, we need to know about the data that exists in the back end. Otherwise we get all sorts of errors for data and accounts not being found that need to be matched up. Now within Test Modeler we have a full test data management engine which can be used to create reusable libraries of different data actions which we require. So here we've built out some data functions to go away and find different accounts and go away and find different campaigns that we need to plug into our CRM system. And sat behind here, we're connecting into SQL Server and doing some SQL queries that are parameterized to go and find data that we need. Now within the model, all we have to do is literally come in, and we can come in here and say we need an account name. So let's go off in our data catalog and let's go off and pick our function to go and find an account name for us. We can bring that in. That's going to find an account, and all we need to do is connect this up into our model, and this is going to go away into our physical database and find the accounts we need. We've also just added one in up here to go away and find campaigns, and this is actually a little bit more advanced because this is going away and it's going to go and find different campaign types for us, given a campaign type criteria and a status, and it will return a campaign name that we can use in our Gherkin feature files. We will now export to Micro Focus Octane. Once we have our model, we can come in and we can start to generate some tests from it. And these are the minimum number of tests to maximize coverage. So here what we're going to see is we get 11 paths, which represent 11 different routes and scenarios through our model. And we'll see here as we're flicking through the different deviations they're taking. Now what we can do is we can come in here and we can say we want to export these tests, and we're going to push them into Octane. And we'll give a test suite name here, which we'll call create opportunities. And we're also going to create some data here at the same time to be reserved. So we'll see here our export is complete. If we come in and just do a refresh on the paths here, what you'll see is that they've now got a link associated to them. Some of them have got some test data that's been identified on top here. But if we come in and take a look at these links, so let's pick one of these out, what we'll see is that we've now got a link into Octane with a little ID here connecting us to the tests that have been created. Now if we come over to Octane and just do a little refresh and come down to the bottom here, what we'll see is that we've got a new test suite that's been created. And if we open one of these up, what we'll see is that the tests that are associated. Now if we take a look at one of the tests here, what you'll see is that we've got our scenario outline, we've got the given, when and then steps here embedded, and at the bottom we've also got an examples table with our name and campaign name, and inside here we've got some special tags which are going to go off and find the data when we run this feature file from our framework, and these values will be replaced with the underlying values from our external data sources, whether these be from SQL Server, Oracle, SAP, mainframe, API calls. They will be resolved and the right data will be passed in to our examples table. We're going to integrate our Gherkin into our automation framework. Okay, so we're inside our IDE here and we've got our Octane plugin open, and we can see some of the work items that we have assigned to us. And all we're going to do is we're going to come in now, we're going to pick off one of our Gherkin scripts, and we're going to choose to download this and embed it inside our framework. And if we come in here, we'll see the script, the feature file, we'll see the given, whens and thens, and crucially we'll see our examples data with our dynamic test data tags embedded. Finally, we'll execute our test cases. Now what we're going to do is run our feature file. So we'll select one of these and we're going to go to run. Now what's going to happen here, and you'll see down the bottom, is our data is currently being resolved. And what then's going to happen is it's going to explode our examples here of our additional data, and it's then going to go off and run the automation. Now our automation's finished running, and we'll see of our 10 scenarios here, all 10 of them passed. And what we'll also see is in our resolve folder here we have a resolved feature file. Now what's happened is before execution, the framework has picked up this unresolved feature. It's taken these tags and it's dynamically resolved them with the appropriate test data, in this case for our account names and our campaign names here. And we'll see here the resolve values that have been copied down into our examples table, into our scenario outline, and these were what we used to execute our test cases. Thanks for watching this video. Visit testmodeler.io to start your free trial today.